In the pantheon of basketball legends, few names ignite passion and provoke discussion like Allen Iverson. Though it's been over a decade since he last dribbled an NBA ball, Iverson's influence pulses through every crossover, tattooed arm, and player-driven brand in today's league. His legend is no longer just a tale of stats and scoring titles. It's a study in cultural defiance, personal redemption, and the redefinition of what a superstar can be. At 50, Iverson stands not as a retired player, but as a living symbol of how authenticity, flawed, raw, and fearless, can shape a global movement. Born on June 7, 1975, in Hampton, Virginia, Allen Ezail Iverson came into the world under the weight of adversity. Raised by a single mother and Iverson, in a community scarred by poverty and systemic neglect, Iverson learned early that survival required both resilience and creativity. He excelled in multiple sports at Bethel High School, starring in both basketball and football, often credited with being one of the best dual-sport athletes Virginia had ever seen. Yet it was basketball that unlocked his future and unleashed his defiant spirit. By the time he entered Georgetown University in 1994, under the strict mentorship of legendary coach John Thompson, Iverson was already carrying the bruises of a controversial teenage life, including a highly publicized bowling alley incident that nearly derailed his future. Thompson's act of taking Iverson in wasn't just a coaching decision, it was a statement of belief. That trust paid off when Iverson became a two-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year and averaged 23 points per game over 2 seasons before declaring for the NBA draft in 1996. Selected first overall by the Philadelphia 76ers, Iverson quickly shook the foundations of the league. Listed at 6 feet 0 inches, though many say he barely cleared 5 feet 11 inches, he slashed through defenses with breathtaking speed, impossible handles, and a defiance that dared you to question his size. In just his first year, he broke Michael Jordan's ankles with a now legendary crossover, an early indication that Iverson wasn't just coming for the league's top players, but for its entire culture. The NBA in the late 90s was buttoned up, dress codes, image control, and corporate polish. Iverson was none of those things. He wore baggy clothes, cornrows, chains, and his tattoos with pride. He brought the voice of the streets onto the hardwood, and for that, he was both criticized and idolized. His impact extended far beyond basketball. He made hip-hop inseparable from the NBA, and his Reebok Answer sneaker line became a street staple, rivaling even Jordan's for cultural relevance. Iverson's peak came in 2001, when he led the 76ers to the NBA Finals, carrying a team of role players to face a loaded Los Angeles Lakers squad. Though the Sixers lost in 5 games, Iverson's 48-point outburst in Game 1, along with his now immortal step-over of Tyronn Lue, became a permanent fixture in basketball history. That season, he was named MVP, averaged 31.1 points, and redefined what it meant to lead with heart, not just height. Over his 14-year NBA career, Iverson amassed 24,368 points, 5,624 assists, and 4 scoring titles. But numbers only tell half the story. His playing style was chaos wrapped in rhythm. He sacrificed his body on every drive, absorbing punishment from players half a foot taller and 50 pounds heavier. He never backed down, never conformed, and never apologized for being himself. That authenticity, raw, emotional, and sometimes self-destructive, made him beloved by fans and misunderstood by executives. Despite his undeniable greatness, Iverson's journey was never smooth. Legal issues, locker room controversies, and his disdain for structured systems often clouded his legacy. Who can forget his infamous practice rant, a soundbite that still echoes today, both mocked and misinterpreted. But in retrospect, those moments weren't flaws. They were glimpses into a man grappling with expectations he never asked for, responsibilities he had to grow into. Off the court, Iverson's life reflected the duality of his public image. After retiring officially in 2013, he faced well-documented financial struggles, a sharp fall from his $200 million career earnings. But like his playing days, he rebounded. In recent years, Iverson has become a savvy brand ambassador, entrepreneur, and mentor. His lifetime deal with Reebok, structured to provide financial security well into his 50s, proved to be one of the more thoughtful endorsements in sports history. In 2025, Reebok's revival of the Answer V line sold 80,000 pairs, tapping into both nostalgia and renewed cultural clout. Today, Iverson's presence is everywhere, even if he's not on the court. His YouTube series, Bubba's Bounce, has over 1.5 million subscribers, mixing interviews with young athletes and reflections on his past. His 2024 docuseries The Crossover drew 6 million streams globally, a visual love letter to his turbulent rise. And in Hampton, where it all began, Iverson's philanthropy echoes louder than his stats. Through the Allen Iverson Foundation, he's provided $2.5 million in scholarships, job training, and youth camps, mentoring over 6,000 kids from his hometown. In 2024, he donated $200,000 to rebuild the city's aging Booker T. basketball courts, hailed by fans as Virginia's hero. His reach continues to grow. In 2024, he became the face of a Bet365 campaign aimed at responsible sports gaming. In 2025, he partnered with digital creators for AI Academy, a program using basketball to teach financial literacy and self-expression. His Instagram, with 3.9 million followers, is filled with personal moments, Tupac quotes, and messages of hope, proof that he's evolved from icon to elder statesman. Faith remains a central pillar in Iverson's journey. A devoted Baptist, he has often credited his mother's prayers and God's guidance for getting him through life's darkest chapters. In his 2001 MVP speech, he choked up acknowledging the struggles they endured together. 2 decades later, his humility still resonates. "My crossover was my voice, my heart was my home," he said in a 2025 TNT interview. It's a sentiment that captures the man behind the legend, someone who used the game not just to escape, but to speak. Iverson's cultural influence is immeasurable. NBA players today, from Kyrie Irving and Ja Morant to smaller guards like Trae Young, often cite him as the reason they believe they could thrive despite size or circumstance. His fearlessness birthed a generation of creative, self-expressive athletes unafraid to wear their identities as loudly as their jerseys. From the NBA's relaxed dress codes to the normalization of player tattoos and individualized brands, Iverson laid the groundwork. Even today, his legacy grows. In Philadelphia, a mural near the Wells Fargo Center reads, "Allen Iverson, the answer forever." It's not just a tribute, it's a mission statement. At a time when sports stars are more brand-conscious and media-trained than ever, Iverson remains a counterpoint, flawed, free, and fiercely human. Now, at 50, he stands tall not just as a basketball legend, but as a cultural architect. His $32 million net worth, per Celebrity Net Worth, speaks to a rebounding financial strategy anchored by real estate investments, partnerships with Reebok and Bet365, and consulting gigs with the NBA. Yet he remains deeply tied to Hampton, often returning to mentor youth and enjoy family barbecues. His mantra, "Play hard, love real," from a 2001 Sports Illustrated profile, still guides him. The sacrifices he made, physical injuries, public criticism, strained relationships, weren't for nothing. They were the tolls paid by a pioneer. In the words of his mother, and who still calls him my warrior, Iverson didn't just survive, he transcended. Allen Iverson's journey is more than a basketball story. It's an anthem for the underestimated, a blueprint for authenticity, and a legacy built not on perfection, but on passion. His 24,368 points and 4 scoring titles might define his box score, but his courage, candor, and cultural shakeup define his impact. Thanks for joining us on this deeper look into the life of Allen Iverson, the man who changed the game without ever changing who he was. Stay inspired, stay defiant, and never forget, the real victory lies in playing your truth.